We got Leonarda Jonie in the house.
What's up with that Barry White? You guys putting on the sex voice. Hey, today on Blacked.com. Black guys who are racist? Hell yeah. I was into that.
Yeah. White people into that shit.
Hell yeah, because you co-sign our shit.
Yeah. Right.
It's like when a Jew says other Jews are bad. We're like, listen to the Jew.
Right.
It's their people. They know. Women are very emotional. We're very compassionate. We have great qualities that are being erased because we're being told we need to be boss bitches. We're being told we have to be men. Yeah. Fuck that. I'm a fucking lady. The Bible says the sins of the father will be paid on the children for 7 generations. It gets imprinted in your DNA. You know, one of my grandmothers was a whore. Look at me.
You've been touring lately, but you've been getting a lot of pushback.
Yeah, I get canceled everywhere. I mean, I piss everybody off. So, you know, which should tell you that I'm an equal opportunity racist. Exactly, I don't understand the problem.
Right. Joe Rogan banged you from his comedy club.
Well, he did it. It was his little minions. I don't think he even knows that I'm banned. He follows me on Instagram. First of all, I get so many lustful DMs.
Lustful?
Yeah, they're like, black, white, Indians, or like, Miss Leonarda, you are a goddess. I want to be your slave. I understand you hate Indian people. That is great. Let me work for you in your house. I know you have to pay me something. $250 is fine. So now I have an Indian slave in my house.
We got Leonarda Jonie in the house.
What's up with that Barry White? You guys putting on the sex voice. Hey, today on Blacked.com.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks for having me. You guys, I'm a big fan of you guys. Been a fan of you guys since 2019, I believe.
Yeah. I think that's when we went political. Yeah.
It's about right. Yeah, I was like, wow, black guys who are racist? Hell yeah. I was into that.
Yeah. White people into that shit.
Hell yeah, because you co-sign our shit.
Yeah. Right.
It's like when a Jew says other Jews are bad. We're like, listen to the Jew.
Right.
It's their people. They know.
Right. So you're based, you're no longer based in New York, right?
No, I won't say where I'm based. I have a lot of people try to find my address, but for all intents and purposes, it's Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I could hear the New York in your voice.
Yeah, but I was in New York my whole life. I didn't really move out of. I spent the majority of my life in New York. I didn't move out till 2021 because they went retarded. Like I'm not. There's woke and then there's retarded, and that's what they were. And I was doing comedy, and I was doing comedy everywhere I could. So there was like 2 groups that split in the comedy faction. There were the communists who wanted to make sure that everybody stopped doing comedy. And then there were people who were actually good at it that were like, fuck this. And we kept doing it. But eventually it got to a point where, you know, I realized that I was living in a really dangerous, hostile environment. Like I looked around and I was like, oh, if the order came in, my own neighbors would turn me into a camp. Like I knew that. And I was like, yeah, I got to get the fuck out of here.
Austin's pretty bad too, right? They got a saying down there, Austin, keep Austin weird.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times and somebody with his fucking bike almost ran us over.
I mean, how about those fucking scooters, those fucking retarded scooters? I just feel like kicking them, like, you know?
Yeah.
You're a grown man, you're on a scooter. This is what I'm talking. This is the pussification of America.
Right.
They turn every man into a like scooter riding pussy.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, what got you started in comedy?
You know, people told me I was funny for a long time, and I thought they were retarded because I was like, I'm a woman, so
how can I be funny?
I can't be funny.
Right.
You know what I mean? I never really thought of myself as funny because I always just thought I was making fun of stupid shit. You know, just highlighting stupid shit. You know what I mean? Like I remember I used to teach these classes to like college kids, and they would just be cracking up. You know, and one of the things like we had to do some problem about cow farts or whatever.
Right.
And I was like, all these vegans who were like, the poor cows. I'm like, have you seen a cow? That thing would never survive in the wild. Right. A cow should be grateful we eat it. That's why it's still here. And I just thought that was an obvious thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
most women don't think like you though. Yeah. Like my wife be sharing stuff with me on TikTok. She's laughing and she shows me, I'm like, that's funny.
She shows you
she
stuff.
Showed me things. She's dying laughing. I'm like, that's not funny.
Yeah, I've had that reaction too.
Yeah,
when
really?
women show me things. Yeah. the things they like. I'm like, this is, I mean, they watch content, like giving them advice about how to get a man. And I'm like, how are you going to take advice from another retard? Like, that's the blind leading the blind, you know, because especially with these women these days who are, I'll just say this. They all love to call me like a pick-me girl. They're like, you're a pick-me girl. I'm like, I don't have to be a pick-me girl. I get picked all the time. So go fuck yourself, okay? And second of all, you're a pick-me girl, actually, right? You want to be picked by the woke crowd. You want to be picked by all the other women. So basically, you're a lesbian, right?
Right.
It's since the beginning of time, women have wanted to be picked by good, strong men. You're getting picked by faggots. Can I say that? I don't know. I just said it.
But you can say it.
You know what I mean? They're getting picked by these beta simp males who will say things like, I'm a feminist too, right? And then you go to the restaurant and you got to split the bill. And you go home, you got to split the rent. And then they don't want to have kids. And then you don't understand why you hate them and you want to kill them.
Right.
It's because you got exactly what you said you wanted, which isn't actually what you wanted.
Right.
So all these women who give advice about how, you know, how to get men and whatever, a lot of it is just totally misleading.
Yeah.
And what I've noticed is a lot of older feminists won't tell the younger feminists the truth.
Right.
Because misery loves company. They made these decisions. They're clearly mistakes, huge mistakes.
Huge mistakes.
They can't bring themselves to say, that was a mistake. I wish I hadn't done that, because the pain of that, it threatens to destroy them, you know?
Right.
And then they have to take something women don't like, personal accountability for the decisions they made. And I was a liberal and I was a feminist and I made mistakes. I look at the shit that I did and I go, this was wrong, you know? Like,
well, you have a brain. You can see these things.
Yeah, but I couldn't see it then because I was brainwashed with everything. And they get you. They hook you in because women are very emotional. We're very compassionate. We have great qualities that are being erased because we're being told we need to be boss bitches and we need to have career. We're being told we have to be men. Fuck that.
Yeah, especially
I'm
in the black
lady.
Community. Yeah, I'm
a fucking lady.
So what was your breaking point? What was the eye-opening experience that turned you away from being a feminist?
It was a whole lot of things that started breaking that for me. I didn't break from being a feminist. I broke from being a liberal first. And I broke from being a liberal right around 2017, 2018. I was anti-Trump. I believed everything they said. He was the devil. When he was elected, I was so depressed, right? Yeah, I know. You guys are like, you know, I would have been making that video, shaving my head, like, I am going out of
don't ever do that. That's insanity when I see women shave that.
But that would have been me. But then this woman, this is a real story, right? This woman pulled me aside. I was in a 12-step meeting because I go to 12-step. I had a severe compulsive eating disorder. For everybody calls me a fat bitch. Now you know why.
I got that still.
Yeah. So I went to this meeting. This woman pulls me aside. She was an older lady, and I always thought she was a crazy lady, but I always listen to crazy people because I'm like, there's a reason they're crazy. Like they know things that they shouldn't know, and it drives them crazy.
Right.
And I told her how sad I was, and she was like, "Don't worry, it's the Jews. The Jews don't want it." And I was like, yeah, I've been suspicious of them too. Tell me more.
Right.
And I started investigating things. And, you know, one of the things I started seeing, Trump had done the State of the Union address. I think it was 2017 or 20. I don't remember when. But it was the one where Nancy Pelosi ripped up the speech. And I remember watching it.
That was diabolical.
My heart sank into my stomach when I didn't like him, but I was listening to him. And I was like, some of the stuff he's saying sounds pretty good. And I was like, this is how brainwashed I was. I was like, there's something I'm missing. There's a reason this isn't right. I'm going to check the newspaper tomorrow.
Right.
So this should tell you what's going on. And so I know the psychology of a liberal, right? But when she did that, my heart sunk and I was like, this isn't right. Something about this isn't right. This feels wrong. And I read the newspaper the next day and they were cheering her on and I still couldn't reconcile how wrong it felt.
Right.
And I was one of these people who believed that the whole Trayvon Martin thing, like I was like, it was more racial injustice, blah, 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 blah. And then I got this newspaper called the Epoch Times, which was written by a Chinese expat who was raised in communism, and he saw what's happening here. He was fighting it. And I saw the other side of the story, and it was like my reality was shattered. I was like, wait, what? He was he was on top of George Zimmerman beating him up, and he got shot from on top. The back of George Zimmerman's head was all busted open. Why wasn't this told?
Right.
And I could not believe it. It was reality breaking. I was like, they're lying to us blatantly all the time.
Right.
And then I started looking at crime statistics and the real statistics around how often black people actually get shot. Unarmed black men get shot by the police, and it's like way less than white people.
Oh, black people get shot. The unarmed black people get shot more by black folks.
Well, we can't. Wait a second. It's racist to talk about black on black crime.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So that started the unfurling of stuff. You know, and the real red pilling on feminism. I don't really remember exactly how it happened, but, you know, I had been with my fair share of guys who sucked. I'm going to take a cough drop because...
Yeah. Okay.
Why don't you guys talk? I did warn you.
That shit up.
I did warn you guys that I was recovering from a cold.
Right. Yeah, I'm fighting something too.
All right. Try to be fucking... Oh, I'm fighting something too. I'm fine. I'm not choking on my own words. What's up, guys? I'm fucking dying over here.
We're just checking you out. That's all.
That's fine. I'm very popular with black men, so. Even after my tweets, so. Yeah, so I had been with my share of like, you know, I married when I was 25, I married this guy from Spain who turned out to be a total con artist, manipulative. Yeah. But I had such low self-esteem, crazy low self-esteem. You know, I came from not the greatest childhood, you know, and when shit happens to you when you're a child, you know, you don't realize this, you blame yourself.
Yeah, yeah, you do.
And I remember I had this moment because I would, you know, I know I'm, you know, decently attractive or whatever, but I'm hot. So, but the internal self-perception isn't that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember one time I was teaching a student, and I wasn't even aware of how I was feeling about myself until I saw my reflection in his sunglasses, and I was like, oh, that lady's actually kind of pretty. And then I was like, that's you, dummy. And I was like, oh my God, that's not how I feel inside. I actually feel like a monster.
Right.
And what you do is, you know, when shit happens to you, especially if you get like beat or whatever, you internalize that. And you feel, it internalizes onto your body where you feel like, something is seriously wrong with me. That's why this happened. None of this is conscious thinking. I don't remember ever thinking that about myself, but the feeling is very clear.
So you was a victim of abuse when younger?
Yeah. And that takes a lot to get over, you know, and there's a part of me that's always going to have that, like that feels like a giant piece of shit all the time.
Yeah, we can relate. All the black kids used to bully us.
Because you guys are mixed.
Yeah.
And you're better looking
than them. They said I had a
them.
big face. I was like, I have a big face?
The shit that
And I
black
looked at
kids
him, I
will,
said, oh my God, my face is big.
the shit that black kids will say to you, because I grew up in the Bronx, man, they will fucking come at you, man.
They will rip you to fucking
Oh,
shreds.
they don't care.
There's no mercy.
They don't care. My dad used to shave our heads when we were kids. It's a true story.
Really?
Listen, I grew up in a fucking Nazi communist concentration camp. I don't even know what it was. He used to shave our heads because they had this idea, like make your hair grow back thicker or whatever. But
Oh, yeah.
I don't think so. I think it was to psychologically break us and let us know that he owned us, you know?
Right, yeah.
But I was in third grade the last time they did it. And I had known these kids my whole life. I was going to school. And I get online, I get on the girls' line. They're like, hey, the boys are on this line. I just start choking back the tears. I knew I had to be strong. It's like, I'm a girl.
Yeah.
But man, I was in school with the Latinos and the blacks. They don't play.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, we're not doing that trans shit. It's 1990. What are you doing?
Yeah, black people they're rough, man. Growing up around, like, we grew up in a poor white neighborhood.
Yeah, my dad didn't want to live on the poor black side of town.
Which was smart.
Very smart.
Yeah.
I could deal with racist jokes, not crazy Negroes.
Yeah.
Poor Negroes.
Oh, so the white kids attacked you guys?
No, I had white
Well, they just
friends.
said stupid stuff like they call me the N-word and stuff, but other than that, they was pretty cool.
Yeah, I had a situation where one of my friends was like, his dad called and said, come home. I was like, why you gotta go? Well, my dad's calling me. So he runs up top of the hill, talk to his dad, and he comes back. And I was like, what'd he tell you? He said, I can't play with niggers anymore. So he's running back out. See you at school tomorrow.
Right. So his dad's based.
Yeah.
Shout out to that dad.
But the problems I have with black kids, they all want to fight me. Had a knife put on me. Had a gun put on me. Yeah. I got robbed right after basketball practice.
Listen,
the point guard robbed me. He put a gun on me.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're saying it was better to be called the N-word?
Yeah, than being around a bunch of niggas.
Yeah, that was in 6th grade. I had my first gun pulled on me.
Seriously?
Yeah, seriously. He was the point guard on the basketball team, but he got kicked off because he had behavior issues.
No.
So he comes back and he like pulls a gun on us as we're going into practice. Yeah. Took a quarter off you, right?
A quarter.
35 cents. That's lunch money.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of time.
Remember we had to take 35 cents for lunch?
Yeah.
Wow, man.
That's a day's lunch.
Yeah, I know all about that, man. I grew up in the Bronx, you know, like, and the Bronx is like prison rules. Everybody tribes up, you know? So the Puerto Ricans were hanging out with the Puerto Ricans, the blacks were hanging out with the blacks, and the Albanians were hanging out with the Albanians. Yeah, and it was
crazy
gang
how
warfare.
Everything was so segregated. It's still very
The kids did it themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
Nobody told us to segregate. It did it ourselves. And I remember one time these black kids stole my brother's bike. Stereotypes, you know. What they did.
Right.
My brother was crying, you know, and some Albanians can be real gangster, man. They call us the black people of Europe. So because of that, and because the girls have fat asses. So, but these Albanian kids see my brother crying, and they know he's Albanian. They're like, "What happened?" Albanians are like super tribal. Like, "These black kids stole my bike," and they were like, "Hang out." And they fucking ran around. They found the black guys. They, I guess, beat the shit out of them. Next thing you know, these guys come back. They have like 2 bikes, not just my brother's bike, but some other bike. And they were like, "Here, kid, go inside." And there was that you realize, like, yeah, there is something about, you know, tribal loyalty that these people try to dismantle now with this whole, oh, every culture can be American. They don't want to be American.
That's the thing.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't, and honestly, they're not wrong. They're not wrong. You know, like, I don't care what anybody tells me. I'm always going to feel more connected to Albanians than I will to Irish people. And I like Irish people. You know, I don't got anything. But, you know, if somebody started a war in Ireland, I'd be like, yeah, it's fucked up. Don't do it. But if somebody started a war in Albania, I would be like, yeah, it's fucked up. Don't do that. I'm not going to fight. You know?
Right.
No, but I would
You
feel...
sound like a Jew right now.
Hey, if I was a Jew, I'd be the one starting the wars in Ireland and Albania. But I would actually... I thought about this because, you know, I went to my homeland. The first time I went to my homeland, I was 18. I didn't really appreciate it. I didn't go back again until I was 30. And I remember when I went there, all of a sudden, I just felt like I was home. I couldn't explain it. I grew up in America my whole life, didn't understand it, but I knew everybody. Everybody knew me. It was my village, you know. Yeah. And I'd be walking.
You think we should go to Nigeria?
I ain't going back there. Fucking shithole.
They ain't gonna accept you. No,
Nobody accepts us.
We're like in a Twilight Zone. We can't be black. We can't be white.
Well, we could go be Moroccan or something.
Actually, yeah, you could be Egyptian. That's how the Egyptians were made.
Fit in there.
Yeah.
No, but you guys, America is your homeland. You guys are going to feel home in America.
Yeah.
You know, like my fiance, he's going to feel home in America. He's American. Like, yeah, he's got Swedish and Norwegian ancestry, but me, I went there and it was just, I'd never experienced anything like that. And I suddenly realized what I had been feeling my whole life in America and why I felt so disconnected. I always felt so anonymous in America. Like I could never really gain traction. I realized why, you know, and there's something about that. Like that land nurtured my ancestors. It literally, like, our cells are made of whatever we consume where we are. So I've consumed, there's generations of consumption of Albanian land produced food. That's something else, man. You can't explain that.
That's fucking deep.
So I'm sorry to do that. Let's get back to talking about black people.
Maybe I'll visit Ireland or Scotland. I've been to Scotland and Ireland, and I felt connected there.
Isn't that
Yeah, I did. I'm not going to Africa.
He's like, fuck that.
Fuck that.
No,
place.
it was like all this old architecture there. It was like,
It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
You can't explain that. I think that's in your DNA. It's in your DNA, and as much
They have
as
a word for it. It skips my mind at the moment.
Epigenetics. That's the word. Epigenetics.
I think it gets imprinted. I think memories that have happened to the Bible says the sins of the father will be paid on the children for 7 generations. What's that? What was that? Is that God being, just an asshole? No, it's a revelation of what happens. It gets imprinted in your DNA. One of my grandmothers was a whore. Look at me.
Yeah. Really?
She was a little loose.
Well, look what white people did with black people, brought them here. Now they paying for their sins. Can't get rid of us now.
Big mistake.
Yeah.
Well, we got a couple good things. You guys,
Yeah.
Jesse Lee Peterson, Kanye,
Right. So that we not all so bad.
Candace Owens.
Right. So, you've been touring lately, but you've been getting a lot of pushback.
Yeah, I get canceled everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere I get canceled. I mean, I piss everybody off. So, which should tell you that I'm an equal opportunity racist. I don't
Exactly, yeah.
understand
Right,
the problem.
What has got you in the most trouble when it comes to your jokes?
I think this recent one about my tweet about the Kendrick Lamar thing that just fired people up, you know?
We got a clip of that, Joe?
You guys retweeted it. Thanks for that. You just made it worse.
Yeah, we only got like 3 million followers.
So I have a lot of haters. So this is what people got to understand, okay? What's happening right now with cancel culture, it's a tale as old as human history.
Right.
This is the envy of the capable, okay? In the Bible, you had Cain and Abel. That's one of the oldest stories in the books. Cain resented and envied Abel. Why? Because everything Abel did was a blessing. Everything he did was good. And Cain, nothing he could do was fitting,
Cain was black, right?
We know that that's true.
Yeah,
and they were both Jews, so that should tell you something.
Right.
And so he killed him. He killed Abel.
Killed his
Why?
brother.
Why did he kill Abel? Because in the heart of envy is this idea that if I can't have it, then no one can.
Right.
And if I can get rid of you, then I can get rid of the pain that I feel that I can't have that thing that you have that comes so naturally to you.
Right.
And this is the heart of all envy. And this is what we're seeing. It's just another manifestation, The communists did it to the Russians, to the ethnic Russians during the Bolshevik Revolution. What was that about? That wasn't about we want a global society of everybody owns things. That's not what that was about. That was about you resented these people because they were highly capable, they were highly talented, they were beautiful. Russians are beautiful people. And you had these like golem looking creatures like, who can't stand it. And they think, well, if I kill them, then I'll be the beautiful one. And this is what you have here. This is what I'm experiencing. I'm one of few funny females, I believe. I don't think it's controversial to say most women aren't funny. And it's not a problem. Once again, we're not supposed to be funny. We're beautiful, right? That's way better, We don't have to work that hard. We just have to look good and not be a bitch. The second one's very challenging for people.
Leonarda, I can't find the tweet, but you talked to Adam McGinnis about it.
I did. Yeah. So
could actually
anyway,
issue a death threat like that. And first of all, you don't know me. You don't know. They just see like what they consider a white woman, and they're like, oh, this is an easy target. I'm like, I grew up in the Bronx, dude. I'm Albanian. This isn't like when somebody issues a death threat, it's fucking on, man. Yeah. And I'm a fighter. Like, sorry, I am. I mean, I'm a girl still, so I'm not going to try to fight dudes. I'm not retarded, but I don't go into, I do get my fight or flight instincts going. I don't go into like, oh no, I should apologize. I'm like, no, I said what I said and I'm not going to back down just because you're threatening me. Like I've had worse threats from people like within my proximity who actually do shit and I don't back down.
Right.
So you think because you're sending me this shit on the internet, like it's insane, man.
So you said that you've got 2 strikes here that I want to talk about. So one was you said the halftime show was the niggerification of America.
Correct.
And that led to most of the death threats.
Was I wrong?
Yeah, that led to everybody getting super triggered and the death threats and what did you mean by this? And we'll show you, we're coming to your show, and you better be ready. We're coming to San Bernardino. That's my next show. We'll show you. And I'm like, yeah, you're just like living up to the stereotype right now, by the way.
Yeah, you say blacks are violent, they go, I'm going to kill you for saying that. Well, go.
And let me just say something, because this is what's so fucking insane to me. I'll answer some DMs. I won't answer all the DMs, but I did get one DM from a black guy that I thought seemed kind of rational. So I responded to him, and he was like, just using this word as ignorant or whatever. And I said to him, look, we have the freedom to use every single word that's in the English language. And you have the freedom to not like me, not watch my comedy, and not associate with me. That's your freedom. And I'm not kidding you. This is exactly what he said. Freedom is a made-up concept. And I was like, well, I guess we can have slavery again, because freedom is a made-up concept.
Right, yeah. And what did he say to that?
Nothing. He blocked me after that.
If somebody using the N-word, if you're offended by that word, that means you are what that word means.
I'm not going to be offended if somebody calls me, I don't know, Italian. I'm like, I'm not Italian. I don't care. If they're like, you stupid guinea, I'd be like, all right.
Why can they make all this money saying the word, though? Yeah.
And so that's all about power. And you guys know that. It's all about power. It's a way to say, hey, look, it's taunting. You're taunting white people is what you're doing. Because you basically allow everybody to say it, right? Like your Lebanese guy here, he can say it, right? Your Puerto Ricans can say it. Your Mexicans can say it. The one people that can't say it, supposedly, white people. But then they go, hey, we're going to make all these songs that you guys like and you want to sing to. I dare you to say it.
It's nuts.
So my thing is look, there's context for things. If I'm going to quote someone, what am I going to say? I'm going to say N-word. Then you don't know if the guy said N-word or if he actually said the word.
Right.
What are we doing? So we have to all reduce our level of communication to the lowest IQ in the room who can't understand context. Then we also have to reduce everything we do, and this is really where we're at now, according to the most sensitive person in the room, who has the most offensive, I'm the biggest victim. We have to all reduce that to take care of somebody else's feelings. Last I checked, your feelings are your responsibility. If you're upset about something, that's for you to handle. That's not me. We don't have a personal relationship. I don't know you. And you're getting... if I have a personal relationship with someone and I say something that's offensive, it's still their responsibility to manage their emotions. They don't have the right to punch me in the face because I offended them.
Yeah, most of the words we hear from people is not what we're not offended by the words, it's the connotation, the assumptions we put behind those words.
Exactly. And by the way, I also made a tweet, when Kash Patel was getting sworn in on the Hindu Bhagavad Gita.
Oh, here we go.
I was like, the Jitification of America. Nobody cared about that.
Right.
None of those are words. I made them up. They're not even real words.
Yeah. Right.
So this is all communist playbook, by the way. People don't realize this because we don't study history. But when
it's definitely what it is.
When the Bolshevik Revolution happened, what they did was they stirred up racial and ethnic strife because there were Muslims in Russia, in Orthodox Christian Russia, and they were telling the Muslims how oppressed they are. They were telling them how much better they were, how they had a right and an entitlement, and they played that up to drive people apart. Which, if you compare that to what's happening now, they're doing that with all the ethnic minorities. First they did it with the black people. Now they've brought in people from other countries, and they're telling them they have a right to this land because of what happened to them during colonialism. I'm like, I'm sorry we gave you working toilets. I'm sorry about that. Sorry we gave you running water and the wheel. Sorry about that. Should have just let you die, But they're doing that intentional, because it stirs up strife, and you can attack the strong population that is your barrier to total domination and control. That's the point. And it's easy to do because we're humans and we have a lot of these emotions are very human. Like I've experienced envy and resentment. I've experienced, coveting somebody else's success and not wanting them to have it because they shouldn't have it.
Yeah.
And that's a really human thing. The difference is I know that's wrong and I feel fucking shame about that. I don't like that I feel that way.
Right.
And I pray for help me. But I indulge it. Don't worry. I go check somebody's Instagram account who's doing better than me. Fuck you. They just like you because you're anorexic. So I know this, but the difference is that the culture that we're living in, that we've been living in for at least the last 70 years, has justified those feelings on behalf of those people. It's told them they have a right to feel that way. You're absolutely correct that you're the victim. You're entitled to all of this stuff. And you should go seek revenge.
Yeah. Right.
So that's what's happening.
Yeah, that's what's going on with Tesla dealerships and all that.
That's exactly correct. And Kenny is so hilarious, right?
And they're all transgenders, a bunch of them.
Transgenders are mentally ill, It's like, I don't understand why that shouldn't even be a debate. I just refuse to have that conversation anymore. Yeah, it's like, look, when in the 80s, we knew who was crazy, right? Right. We did. We didn't pay attention to the guy on the corner being like, I'm a woman. We're like, okay, just keep your kids away from them, right? Right. Put them in an institution. Now we make them the Secretary of Health. That Rachel Levine.
Yeah.
That guy should be on a corner holding up a sign. It's like the end is near. That's what he should be doing. Why is he making decisions about how we should live our life? But this is all, of course, this is all satanic inversion that people need to understand. We've forgotten the world we live in. We've completely become unmoored from a conception of that would help us make sense of what's going on because we have become an atheist country. We have become an atheist country. And I know because I was, for all accounts, atheist. And it's hard. You grow up in this water. You don't even realize what's going on. When you start coming to a faith, it's like, your brain starts breaking, actually.
When you think of Christians, Republicans, the conservative Christian, I think they more align with the Jewish person than the Muslim person. But the Muslim person in their countries, they're not putting up any of this garbage that's going on in our country.
Right.
Why do you think we more align with Israel and the Jews?
Well, because America is founded on Protestantism. And Protestantism is completely uncoupled from real Christianity. It has none of the mysticism. It has none of the beauty that is God. God is beauty. I don't care. I mean, all beautiful things come from God. You go to a Protestant church, it's like plain. There's no wall because they think if you have paintings or whatever, it's like idol worship and all that. So they don't have any beauty. And then they have these horrible songs and they're all clapping and they have lesbian bishops. And it's like...
Yeah, that's nuts.
So that's completely unmoored.
What Bible did they read?
Well, the Schofield Bible, as you guys know. There's been a complete infiltration and a inversion of true Christianity. And there's been a confusion that says, well, Jesus was a Jew, so be nice to these Jews. And you're like, well, what kind of Jew was Jesus?
Yeah. Right.
And what kind of Jews are these?
Yeah.
Are these the Jews that followed Jesus?
Or the Jews that killed Jesus?
Or are they the Jews that killed Jesus? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like you have that within every group. Yeah. You can't just go, you guys know, right? You can't just be like, oh, these are my people. They're all black or they're all mixed race,
Fuck
right?
that.
Well, we know how you feel about that. But you get what I'm saying? You wouldn't do that. You would parse them out according to what they really were. What
Their
are the
character.
fruits that they produce?
Yeah, their
that's the
character
truth.
individually. Yeah.
Like we've been labeled. We won an award on Twitter.
Hell yeah.
Said we was the anti-Semites of the week or something
Fuck
like
yeah,
that.
man.
I was like, how am I?
First of all, how do you get that? I've been working really hard. No, I haven't even been noticed.
You got to get Andrew Tate on. You got to get the Tate brothers on.
Dan Bilzerian.
You got to get Dan
I got to get Dan
Bilzerian.
Bilzerian, yeah.
You were sure in for the anti-Semite of the week.
I think I'd be the anti-Semite of the year if Kanye wasn't around. Even though I don't hate Jews, it's so ridiculous.
I don't hate Jews either.
It's so ridiculous.
I was like, my older brother told me this. How can I be an anti-Semite when I accept Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. He was a Jew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can I be anti-Semite? How can I be an insight anti-Semite for defending the people that's being murdered by the Jews.
Israel.
Just being funded by America.
Yeah, well, Talmudic Jews. These are the Jews who have descended from the Pharisees who put Christ to death. I mean, Christ called them out. He drove them out of the temple. The Pharisees were hypocritical. They were Jews in name only. They were doing all kinds of Babylonian black magic shit. They were destroying their own people. I mean, that's the thing that gets me is I'm like, hey. These guys that we're talking about, they'll kill you too.
Right. Yeah.
They don't care that you're Jews. They're psychopaths. There is something called the Hannibal Directive, which says that if killing Jews is going to help the overall Jewish cause and Israel, it is acceptable to do it. It is acceptable to sacrifice some Jews for the goal. Do you think they're going to sacrifice themselves and their families?
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Netanyahu's son was chilling in Miami while all the other 18-year-old boys in Israel have to go to the army.
Right.
Like so to me, it's like, you know, I realize that there's a level of brainwashing that has happened to everyone. Yeah. You know, like you guys see it, like there's a level of brainwashing within the black community, which makes them believe all the lies that are told to them about themselves.
Black people believe anything. They believe Kamala Harris is black.
But you see what I mean? And they don't understand that in accepting that, they're binding themselves into their own victimhood.
Mental slavery.
And a lack of agency in their own life.
Yeah.
But they don't care because they're thinking they're getting the better end of the deal. This is the same with a lot in the Jewish community. You know, they don't realize that they are binding themselves by accepting this very brainwashing that's happening. And they don't realize that now they're putting a mark on their back because when people are like looking at, hey, the head of the CDC was Jewish. The head of Pfizer was Jewish. The head of all the networks is Jewish. Right? They're looking.
Hey, blood it up. I can't see it.
I hate that fucking picture. They could have used a better picture.
I look like a hillbilly in that picture.
We like some rednecks from Alabama with a tan.
That's why they picked it.
We look like
that's some Negro-hating black dudes right there.
We got an award. Keith and Kevin, a.k.a. the Hodgetwins, once known for their conservative comedy, have taken a puzzling anti-Semitic turn since October 7th.
It's so confusing. Why would people feel this way after October 7th when we bombed a bunch of children? We don't understand.
Right.
But
that thing that happened on October 7th, I understand it was horrible what they did, but you guys are in a holy war. When you're bombing people, people are going to fight back.
Yeah, but also I'm very aware of the way that Israel's government likes to conduct false flags. They've done it in America. They'll do it there. They tried to do it with the USS Liberty. That was supposed to be set up so that Egypt takes the blame, so America could go to war with Egypt. So
they keep setting us to fight other countries. I think what they're trying to do the same thing with Iran.
Well, there was a whole thing that came out that there were 7 countries that Israel wanted targeted, and we've gone to war with all of them except Iran and Syria. Iraq was on the list. Afghanistan was on the list. Like, all of the, what was it? Where the Gaddafi was the president of? Was that
Gaddafi? He was in
Libya.
Libya.
Right? All of these were on the list. So it's happening. The playbook's happening, and unfortunately, a lot of American evangelicals are retarded. They are low IQ.
Yeah, Fox News doesn't. I've never heard Fox News say anything positive about a Palestinian person ever.
He said they're all terrorists. They're raised to be terrorists.
Yeah.
I was like, come on, these people are getting bombed in a Bolivian.
Yeah.
And when they attack, you call them terrorists? It's like they gaslighting the hell out of everybody.
That's correct. It's total gaslighting. It's total gaslighting. And it's pretty horrible. And anybody this is just a tactic.
Yeah.
Because when you're telling the truth, they don't have a counter argument. So they have to do things like label you and say you're untrustworthy by calling you an anti-Semite or a racist or whatever.
Yeah.
And that is to discredit you as a source.
Yeah. Right.
But because they don't have a counter argument to what you're saying. And, for all the evangelicals, it's like, why don't you just read the Talmud and see what this group says about your Lord and Savior?
Yeah.
And you tell me you're going to support that. You're guilty too.
I've seen.
But we do.
Yeah.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to know it exists.
I've seen countless Christians in Israel wearing a cross and get attacked for just wearing a cross.
Yeah. Well, the Jews in Israel will tell you that they have an absolute right to do that because that's their enemy and they're blaspheming God by believing in Christ as part of God, as God, one of the divine persons of the Trinity.
It's crazy.
Leonarda, I got a clip of you on whatever podcast talking about this, and you got them really uncomfortable.
Oh yeah, they shut me down. They did the shut it down.
You went on this one?
I don't know if you guys are into this conspiracy particularly, but we do have our CIA and Israel's CIA, Mossad. Can't say that. Can't say.
We're not going to get into fucking Israel, Palestine.
I'm not getting into that. I'm getting into the secret agencies, CIA, Mossad, and MI6, which is Britain's. Why can't I say that? They're three major power secret agencies.
Okay, I thought you were going.
No. I'm talking about these three major intelligence world powers who work together to get blackmail information on people who are not
Shout
a character.
out Whitney Webb. Read Whitney Webb's books on this. It's very well documented.
Yeah, Whitney
All right,
Webb.
let me read some chats.
Let me go to the chats.
And that's
Quickly.
a guy doing this.
Quickly,
I'm gonna
gotta go
read
to
some
the chats.
And supposedly he's conservative.
Well, he's conservative, but he keeps bringing on a bunch of OnlyFans, 19-year-olds who don't know any better.
Yeah.
And just is like, see, and then their OnlyFans blow up because they've been on his show. Give me a break, dude. The whole thing is bullshit. That's why I went on that show. I would watch it. I was getting pissed off. I was like, he just keeps bringing stupid women on here. So I went on. I was like, I told him to. I said, I didn't like lie. I was like, yeah, I think you guys are wrong about a lot of things, and I'd like to come on and correct the record.
Right.
And he wasn't ready for it. So.
Yeah, obviously.
And he wants to talk, what's so great is he wants to talk about, how bad OnlyFans is or whatever, and he doesn't get into who owns OnlyFans.
Who funds it?
A rabbi.
Yeah.
Who then takes the portion of money that they get. I think they get about a third of the girls' money, and they use it to fund Israel. So you're literally turning women into whores and using the money they make, whoring themselves out to commit genocide. I mean, I don't know anything that's more evil than that. That is diabolical. That is some Dr. Evil shit.
Touch it. Nobody wants to
Why?
touch it. Scared cowards.
Why would they be scared?
Well, there is a legitimate reason why they would be scared.
They
They
That's
want to
right.
be president. So, yeah.
because of the level of power. That's why. If there was no power, that's why when people say we live in a system of white supremacy, I'm like, if that was true, you wouldn't be able to open your mouth about white people.
Right. You can't open your mouth about Jews.
Well, there you go. I think Dan Bilzerian's on about this. We live in a system of Jewish supremacy.
Yeah.
And I agree with him. I'm not about supremacy. Like, if you really want to believe in God and in the value of every human life, then there is no such thing as supremacy.
Right.
But I also don't think that means that we have to let in every fucking third world mongrel that wants to come in here and has no respect, can't even conceptualize what we built here.
Right.
And then wants to tell us how we're pieces of shit for having it. Then I'm like, then why the fuck are you here?
You're right.
Get
it
out.
defies all rationale when you see these people holding up their flags and they're complaining about people being kicked out of this country because they're not citizens, but you're waving another country's flag. It's just
go home.
Yeah,
you'll be happier there too.
Yeah,
you fit in right with the other mongrels. Nobody will care.
Hey everybody, it's your only two favorite black guys, and we got a new favorite giveaway. This Jeep Rubicon, Can-Am for red. Yeah, lifted. Yeah, fully loaded. Hey fellas, women love Jeeps. This is crazy. And the reason why we do this, because y'all support us. So we're gonna support you. We're some good guys. Even if we are black. We like to give back. Y'all support us, so we give back to y'all. Who else doing this? Ain't nobody doing that. But y'all are paying my bills, I ain't gonna lie. Y'all want me on food stamps like all the rest of them? I'm working for my money. Go to officialhodgetwins.com. Anything you buy on our site, get you automatically entered to win all our giveaways. No purchase necessary. All where prohibited. See official rules for details. Yeah.
Yeah, like Haiti is like a evil, like voodoo shithole, right? And they bring these people here and they can't conceptualize what America is.
Yeah, and Haiti's another one, and we do have to recognize this is part of it too, is there's a lot of evil that has happened at the hands of our possessed government that's gone into these places and destroyed them from the inside. And I'm like, you could have just let them do it. They would have done it themselves. You know what I mean? You didn't have to go in there. Yeah. But, there was like, in South America, there was a president, I forgot the country, but there was a South American president who did not want to lower the price of bananas for the United Fruit Company. Okay. And the United Fruit Company was like, you got to lower the prices. And he was like, no. So it was like a couple of cents. Okay. They went and killed him. They killed him. They had him assassinated. They installed who they wanted, and then they got their, 2-cent bananas or whatever they wanted so they could increase their profits. Now, they did that with the help of our military, our CIA. So that's bullshit too. And to me, it's like, that...
It's funny they say we're pro-democracy, but our country, our army, our military has overthrown many democracies.
Yeah, I'm not pro-democracy. I'm pro-monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need like a king that's connected to the land.
It's got to be smart, though.
Got to be, of course. We
Can't be progressive.
Well, they're not going to be a monarch then. They're going to be gay. So. But, people don't realize that because they're so, but you go back and you look at European history and the monarchs were at least connected to their people. They had a vested interest to make sure that their people didn't all, suffer and die. And a lot of times, people would kill the king if he did that. So there was checks and balances there for sure.
Like Europe, like London. It's not even London anymore.
No, it's India. It's little India.
Yeah.
Little India.
It's like
Pakistan.
if I want to go to India, I can go to India.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to India and London.
Thank you. But also they feel entitled to be there because of the ideology that's being given to them. They're being told, well, the British came and they colonized India, so you have a right to be there. And they're being fed this bullshit. And then, I'm sorry, but you're responsible too. If you accept that propaganda and you take that and then you play into the sin of pride, you are responsible too.
Yeah.
And
all
when
the people that's voting for that and the people that support that, especially if you're a native Briton from that part of the world and you let this happen to your country, I don't have no sympathy for that.
Yeah. Well, those are the brainwashed women. Don't let women vote, Or if you are going to let them vote, don't give them Jewish propaganda.
Yeah. Do you think there's a problem with women?
Yeah.
When it comes to voting?
What? Come on. Have you heard nothing that I've said? Yeah, here's what I think.
Sometimes I try to check myself. I was like, wait a minute, women can vote. But I was like, man, a lot of pain and suffering is in this country because the way women think, and I don't get it.
You want women to decide the way that the political sphere should go, and we can't even decide what we want for lunch.
I don't always decide what we're going to order, baby. Like, you decide. I'm like, I have to decide every fucking time.
Yes.
It is crazy.
And it makes us feel safe.
Yeah.
It makes us feel so nice and safe. We're like, okay, that's what we're having. Thank God. There's an adult in the room. And I say this as a woman who's in the public sphere and I talk a lot and all that. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to fucking be here. I'm supposed to be in a kitchen somewhere having babies and being like, hey, let's make a little anti-Semite of you, That's what I'm supposed to be doing. Don't play with the black kids after 13, That's what I'm supposed to be doing, you know?
Do you think women are capable of leading, though?
No.
No,
I don't think so. And I don't mean this to disparage them at all. I think maybe some women, look, there's a few of us who have a brain.
The 1%.
The 1%. Maybe there are some, there are some very talented, incredibly intelligent women who've invented things and created things, but that is not the vast majority. And you can see it in the way that they vote as a block. It's very similar to the way black people vote as a block.
Yeah.
They don't.
There's no help in black folks. Everybody's stupid. The men and the women.
Well, see, I didn't say they should vote. But my opinion is, I know myself as a woman, right? Yeah. I have to make decisions a lot of the time. I always check with a man I respect. I will check with my fiance. I might check with one of my brothers. I won't check with my dad because I said I'd check with men I respect. And it's a joke. Sorry, Dad. But kidding.
Yeah.
Everything I said is a joke. I didn't mean any of it. The Jews are great. But I will do that because I don't feel sure, But I don't totally abdicate responsibility. I'll check with them and kind of check in and see, does that line up? And sometimes I will go, that's not the right decision, and I know it, and I'll go the other way. But I need that to know it's not the right decision, And that I don't know if that's because I was beat or because I'm a woman. So it's hard for me to tell you why that is.
Yeah.
But the other part too that you have to realize is, there's something that is true about us in the world. We don't have the physical capability to defend ourselves against the majority of threats. Right? I mean, if I lived in a society of Indian men, I would have the ability to protect myself against physical threats. But I don't.
Right.
So when we make decisions that involve using physical aggression, we're making decisions for you guys to do that. And it's not going to be weighed the same.
You have a lot of Indian jokes.
I do.
Go ahead. Yeah, what did you think about when Trump was shot at and those two women were in front of him?
What the fuck were we doing? First of all, why do we have fat lesbians protecting him who are like fucking Oompa Loompas? There are big bitches who could. One of them was my flight attendant recently. This bitch was like 6'5". Easily 300 pounds. Her whole body could have just taken the bullets for him, and she would have been fine.
I can understand.
You can understand what?
In the Secret Service, if you're female, if you're tall, 6'3", 180
you're
pounds. You're built.
And you're the top 3%.
Maybe you're in mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
You can kick men's ass, but those women was not it. They should have never been. Yeah.
It's DI the whole way.
First of all, why would you hire them when men exist?
Right.
You guys would have done a better job.
And I'm 50.
I'm serious.
Right.
You know, like
I could have did a better job than those ladies with no training.
I know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. And I'm like, I don't even know where the fuck. Why they all look like that too? Like, remember that female cop recently who fucked up all the dudes on her squad?
Yeah,
she looked like one of the security people. I'm like, what is this fucking physiognomy of this? That's got to. But yeah, like I had to hire private security recently. I do that now because I get death threats.
Wow. You gonna hire a woman?
Hell no.
This is your security right here.
Yeah, hell no.
That is nuts.
This chick is the best.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's the chick I was talking about.
Yeah. He's very lucky to be alive. And the woman that was running the Secret Service was a woman. She had to actually step down because how can you be so incompetent you let somebody climb a roof of a building with clear view of sight? That's her.
Yeah, they all look like this. You're right, Leonarda.
Yeah, they all got like a thyroid problem. I don't know what the hell's going on. What is going on? Like, get your shit in order, man. You're stressed out because you're not supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be home baking fucking cookies, knitting something, taking care of your grandkids. Not out here doing this shit. Like, most women don't need to be doing stand-up comedy, you know? I do it just because I'm like, there's something wrong with me, you know? But I don't, you know, it's not for us. Like, it's, you know, like look, I didn't understand any of this when I was younger. You know, I thought it was like fucking sexist. What do you mean women aren't supposed to be in the public sphere? Yeah, we are. Yeah, I'm in the public sphere now. I understand why. You know, I get, first of all, I get so many lustful DMs.
Lustful.
Yeah, they're like, oh, yeah, I can't even repeat it. It's disgusting, dude. It's
Was it from black guys?
Black, white, Indians, or like, Miss Leonarda, you are a goddess. I want to be your slave. I understand you hate Indian people. That is great. Let me work for you in your house. I know you have to pay me something. $250 is fine. So now I have an Indian slave in my house. I was at my gym and it was full of Indian dudes. I had to wait over an hour to use the 10-pound dumbbells. Come on, Indian dudes. You've been coming to the gym for a year. You still weigh exactly 85 pounds. I posted that joke on the internet, pissed off 1.4 billion people. So I said, I'm going to learn some more things about Indian culture so I can find better ways to make fun of you. And I read this news article. 4 Indian guys gang raped a lizard. What kind of sick freak is an Indian? That poor lizard is never going to get the smell out.
Yeah. Have you ever been there?
Hell no. I'm not trying to get raped.
I spoke to some bodybuilders who went out there. I'm not going to mention their name.
Fitness expo.
He said, oh my God, as soon as you walk from the flight, as soon as you get off the plane, your eyes begin to water.
Because it smells so bad? Yeah. Well, they shit everywhere. You know, that's a true thing. That's not even, it sounds racist to say
true.
it. Yeah, go watch this video, India, the worst place on earth or the worst country on earth. And there's a scene, I'm not kidding you, of Indian men across the beach, all these holes dug into the beach, and they're all shitting at the same time, publicly defecating, and then covering it up. And the guy's like being interviewed, and he's like, yeah, when we have to go, we just come out here, we dig a little hole, and we go and we cover it, and then we go. And no shame.
Really?
So when you say...
I thought Africa was bad.
Even the Africans are like, what the fuck is going on with India? That's how bad it is. Even the Africans are like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But it's important for people to understand this because we have this really stupid idea from the Enlightenment period that says everybody is exactly the same. You know,
all BS.
Just because you can say there's equal worth to value to human lives, which I don't believe. But let's all stop kidding around here.
Is this them throwing shit at each other? Wait 1 second.
What is it?
Yeah, that's them throwing cow dung at each other. It's a very important religious rite of passage here.
Well, good luck in prosperity.
Who knows?
What the hell?
So you're going to bring all these people into London, one of the most advanced civilizations on Earth, and you think it's still going to be London?
Right. No,
It's not London anymore.
it's not.
People have this idea, and this is the thing. This is what a lot of people don't understand. Like a lot of these people who are in these countries think that the reason America and Western societies are as good is because they have something like magic soil. They really think their soil is magic. And it's like in South Africa right now, right? All the Bantu Africans who are not native to South Africa, by the way, that whole thing is bullshit. There were no Africans that were native. There was a few, but not really. It wasn't inhabited because it was too cold down there for them. And
South Africa.
South Africa, yeah. So when the white people went there, the British went there, they built something out of nothing. And they had apartheid because they were getting attacked, And so they had all these farms that they built. They built these amazing farms. And now, thanks to, communist Nelson Mandela and afterward, the black people there are chanting "kill the Boer," which is kill the white farmer. They're openly chanting. Elon Musk has been tweeting about this.
Right.
And they're like, that's our land. You have to give it to us. And, I follow one guy on there who talks about how his family came here and this land has been in his family for years. He goes, when my family came here, this was desert. There was nothing here. We built, there was no irrigation. There were no crops. It wasn't green. We made it this way.
Right.
This isn't yours, but this is typical communist envy.
Right.
That's mine. Because they envy what you did with the exact same thing they could have, but they didn't have the ability to. So now they think, and because they're low IQ, that if I'll take that and all this, that'll just happen.
Yeah, you could give it to those people, but they won't be able to maintain it.
Well, that's what happened in Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. They did give all the farm, and they even taught them how to farm, and they still couldn't do it. They were like, their crops were not coming back, and so then they finally asked the white farmers to come back. Yeah. If I was them, I'd be like, starve to death. We'll come in when you guys are done. I'm not fucking coming back.
Jesse Lee Peterson got this famous quote. He says, "Everything black people touch, they destroy."
I mean, once again, let's go to the blacks on this. Let the blacks speak on it.
Yeah. Well, you can point back points in history, like you go to Compton, Los Angeles, Watts, where these places were thriving.
I know.
Now they're ghettos.
Yep. And why is that?
It's got to be something with those black people.
Well,
they were doing better too. Huh? The blacks. They used to do a lot better than what they're doing today.
Yeah, I know. And people, this idea that you judge people based on their skin color and that's why you hate them, it's just so infantile. Like, you can't look at somebody and go, oh, I don't like your skin color, so I hate your whole group and you guys should be genocided. No.
Yeah. You have
to get to know them, and that's why you want to genocide them. And no, but I had people don't, people think they have one perception of me, but like I said, I was in 12-step recovery, and the first sponsor I found was this like skinny white chick, because it was like find somebody who has what you want, and I was like, I want to be skinny, so I went to her, and she was a fucking cunt. So I was like, fuck this bitch, and I'm out.
I never understood why women want to be skinny though.
Because not all of us want to date black guys. That's why.
Black guys love fat white women.
Yes, they do.
I'm looking at some of the women, black people. I was like, man, she's way too big. A lot of black men.
That's your white side talking.
Yeah, I never got in. I never got. Let me explain this about fat.
Wait, before you do that, she can explain it too.
Okay.
You can be. Men will put up with it. But the opposite is also true. This is why fat girls used to be so nice. But then the internet and a bunch of black dudes convinced them that they were hot too. Now you can't even talk to one. Relax, bitch. You can't have an attitude and type 2 diabetes. If you're over 300 pounds, you need to be as sweet as your blood sugar. These fat white girls who get with a black dude and then they're like, see, I'm not racist. And I'm like, come on, Cheryl. It's not like you had a choice. It's like when black dudes are like, I don't even like them skinny white girls. I'm like, come on, Daryl. It's not like you had a choice either. The hotter...
Yeah, that's such a thing in the black community. Like I used to have these black friends that, I got a white girlfriend. I said, really? And I get them out, so, oh my God, this woman can't even fit through your door.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah,
she'll feed the village.
I was like, any white girl to do, huh? Yeah, well, as a black guy, that's the first thing I wanted was a white girl. It's like a trophy.
That's what I said. I said the first thing minorities buy when they make it is a white woman.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the highest status symbol.
Right. So you can't get any white girl, so it's like low-hanging fruit. The fat chicks are right there.
She's got to have self-esteem issues. That's the thing.
Yeah, and that's what attracts black men. I got me a white girl. Nobody wants.
But you got a white girl.
Yeah. But I got a white girl.
You got a white girl other black guys want.
Yeah.
Not if she's fit. No.
Yeah. Yeah. And my white friends used to tell me these jokes about that. I was like, but I couldn't deny it because it was true.
Yeah.
Everything they said was true about it.
I know. People get at me because they're like, hey, Jerry. I'm like, is it true? Mm-hmm. Is it true? Okay.
I lost my virginity to a white girl. She's actually very beautiful. She was. I was in the room. It's like, my brother's doing it. And she's actually attractive. I can't wait till we have a conversation after this. It was so lame growing up.
Yeah, so what I was saying was like, obviously people, I think white people are actually the least racist group.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think white people, first of all, white countries are the countries that welcome all the other people in.
Yeah.
Ireland elected a Muslim mayor and all the cucked Irish were like, well, this is great. I'm like, so funny because you go to Pakistan, they're not like electing an Irish governor and then throwing a parade for it.
Right.
But also I think white people do analyze people based on who they are. We have a concept of individuality. And I think sometimes it's mistaken to put that out on people because a lot of people don't have that concept of themselves. Like, Chinese people like sort of function like a hive mind. You know what I mean? They just all do the same thing. That's why China doesn't have any creativity. They have to steal America's ideas.
Right.
They're very mechanical. They're very good at just like implementing orders. They're not very good at coming up with them. And so we don't recognize these differences because it's become taboo. It's become the prime sin you can commit in Western countries is to recognize and speak to ethnic and racial differences. That makes you evil beyond repair. Right. To the point that like a fucking stripper was telling me I was a bad person. I'm like, you show your asshole to men. How about you pipe down there, you whore? But I'm not, I can see who people are. You know, so it's not like I see a black person, I'm like, fuck yeah. You know what I mean? I get to know them first. Yeah. But what I was saying is when I went to recovery, I went to pick that skinny white girl and she sucked. And then I remember I went to another meeting and there was this guy talking. He was a bigger guy. He must have been about 230 at that point. And he was like a big Buddha, just very peaceful and serene. And I remember being like, I want what he has. He was a black dude. And there was no... He was very intelligent, like he worked in science or whatever, and he had his own racial stuff against white people because he'd grown up in the South with, I think, a lot of kind of discrimination. But we were in this program together where he looked past it. I didn't have any yet because I was a liberal, so I thought, I was like, well, great, But, he was incredibly crucial in my life. Like, he helped me get out of this horrible binge eating disorder where I was going to kill myself because I was like, I can't take this anymore. I just couldn't take it. He helped me like heal tremendously. When I married my ex-husband, who turned out to be a total con artist, he didn't judge me. He tried to tell me, but he knew that I couldn't see. He was like really wise. He knew that I had to go through it myself. And when I came to the point where I was ready to leave, I called him. I wasn't even allowed to go home at that point. I called him. He was like my grandfather. And I called him and I just said, you know, Ray, I'm afraid that if I don't leave now, I'm never going to leave. And I just hear him go, hold on a second. I hear him talking to his little Jewish wife, who I loved also. And he just goes, hey, Leonarda, you can come stay with us. I didn't even have to ask him. I stayed at his house for like a month and a half. I kept trying to get out because I didn't want to be a burden, and I'd find an apartment here. And he was like, that's in Harlem. You're not living there. Like, that's a bad neighborhood, you know?
This black guy's gonna eat you alive.
Yeah, he was like a grandfather. And I remember he really was like, and then I was transitioning into like dating again. And I started dating this guy who's no good. He was Israeli. And I was an anti-Semitic all the time. And I broke up with him right before I took this trip to Albania. That's when I went to Albania. And I couldn't stop thinking I was obsessing about this guy. And then about 2.5 weeks into my trip, the obsession just lifted. It was gone. It was it. And I was like, holy shit, it's great. I come back. I'm trying to call Ray. And it turns out he died. Just breakdown. He was an older man. He had been, so he was 230 pounds at that time. He had been 650 pounds. Okay. So you want to talk about not judging a book by its cover? Here was this skinny white girl who I thought had what I wanted. She had nothing of what I wanted. Here's somebody I thought was maybe a little fat. I had no idea he had lost over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And
not to mention he's black.
And not to mention he's black, you know, and he was like a Buddha. And he died right around the time that obsession lifted. So to me, it was like, I feel like he stuck around just long enough for me to be okay. And I felt like a kinship to him that I can't, you know, I can't tell you, I still like get emotional. Like I still want to cry because of how much I was affected by how much this man loved me. Right. And how much I loved him. You know, he had no reason to do that, you know? So there are these bonds that go beyond, you know, blood ties. You know, that you can develop with people. That's true. But you have to have a common ground. And we did have a common ground. We were both fat pieces of shit. So.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
He's a wonderful man, you know. I still have like his hat, you know, I got his hat and everything. And I remember that guy, you know, tried to hit me up again. And I tried to meet up with him a couple times. And then I finally was like, you know, I feel like Ray is like being like, don't do this, because something kept happening where we couldn't meet up. So last time I was like, all right, if something happens now, because we were like, no, we're gonna meet up or whatever, I'm gonna know I'm not supposed to. And it fucking happened. And a little while after that, I had this dream where I was in my old Bronx neighborhood. Whenever I have like dreams being in my old childhood neighborhood, they're like really deep and meaningful. And Ray was there, and he was just like a jolly guy. And I just saw him, and I started crying in my dream. Probably started crying in real life. I just ran to him, and I was like, "Hey, oh my God, I miss you, whatever." And he just was like smiled and did his little chuckle that he did, and he was like, "Okay, Leonarda," and I gave him a hug. I'm like, he just went up.
Yeah, you gonna fucking make me cry.
I know, but it was like,
I
felt like, oh my God, I had this guy.
You make me cry, man. I'll never talk to you again.
You know, and it was. I felt that was him being like, I'm done saving your ass. Stop fucking with these men. You know?
Yeah, right.
Just because I dated a Jew doesn't mean you have to. Sorry about that, but you know, he really was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
So when people are like, you're right, I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. I'm judging you based on your behavior. You know what I mean? Like, I would never be like, I raise an N-word or whatever. That's stupid.
Right.
Stupid. You know, but they don't get that. They want to say that everything is racism or anti-Semitism because then it takes accountability and responsibility off of them.
Yeah.
It's not, you're not saying this because I'm actually doing something wrong. You're saying this because you have a bigoted point of view.
Yeah.
And you're like, let's look at the facts, you know?
Yeah, I see a lot of your clips, how funny you are. Why did Joe Rogan ban you from his comedy club?
Well, he did it.
He did?
No, it was his little minions who, again, it's the envy and the jealousy. I don't think he even knows that I'm banned. He follows me on he follows me on Instagram and on X, you know. But my X is hacked right now. I don't know if you guys saw that.
You got hacked?
Yeah, by a fucking tribe of Indian bots that fucking hacked me. So I'm working on getting it back, but I'm hacked, you know. I've tried everything. There's probably some Indian in the back like, I'm not going to give it to her. You know, but I did get hacked. But he followed me on that stuff. He's liked my shit. You know, he knows who I am, but I don't think he knows I'm banned.
Yeah,
it's these minions. You got to understand, man. I always get along with the kings and the queens. I always get along with the people at the top, like, because real recognize real, you know?
Right.
It's the minions I never get along with.
Right.
It's always the middle
It's the
level
envy.
man. Yeah, man. I remember, like, I used to go, for a while, I was doing these, like, these temp jobs in finance, you know? And
we got finance degrees.
nice.
Yeah.
And Jews. And then I'd get hired by the boss. The boss would love me. And then the middle level manager would be like, this fucking bitch, you know? And I'd always end up getting fired. I didn't do shit, you know? But they knew I knew. They were like, this one knows.
Yeah.
She knows
Gotta
about,
get rid of her.
Yeah, we got to get rid of her. People can tell when you know, like, about things, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you get targeted. When you're ignorant, like, nobody cares, you know?
He's just a dumbass. He don't know any better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, also not only that, they're like, oh, they don't know what we're doing, so they're not a threat. You know, I got a gay friend. Sorry, Christians, and he's like, he don't know.
Make sure you remind him every day he's going to burn in hell.
I do actually.
Of course he does.
He's like, I'm Catholic, so I could repent on my deathbed. It'll be fine. I'm
Right.
like, it's not how it works. Stop being gay. But he's one of the realest people I know, somebody who
Right.
speaks truth and doesn't compromise on it. It's like, it's so interesting the way things, you know, divide, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he's like, he's so flamboyantly gay, you know what I mean? And,
Do you? When I look at some of these gay people,
but he's a conservative. He's a gay Mexican for Trump.
Right.
So he hates himself.
I think these people, it's like, I know what it says about these people in the Bible, but it's like, I'm thinking in the Bible, it's talking about people that's an actual choice that they live that way. Some of these people I come across, I don't think that was a choice for them. It's like it's hardwired in them, like in their DNA.
Well, I think so. I think there's stuff in there chemically.
Yeah.
I think there's chemical stuff. I think being molested, you know, that'll fuck you up because it does. Like, you have a compulsion to repeat the offense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
People are victims of pedophiles. They grow up and be pedophiles.
yeah, because what happens is when they get, let's say they get molested, the part of them, there's a part of them that breaks off and identifies with whoever is the powerful one in the room because they can't tolerate what's happening to them right then. So they'll identify with the pedophile because he's the powerful one in the room. And then they start they reject that part of themselves that got molested. And then when they come of age, they live out that part to kind of deal with not wanting to be the one that got molested.
Yeah.
It's a whole thing, you know? And I do think God has forgiveness, but I don't think he's going to excuse it. You know, like, you molest someone just because you were molested. It's like, I can't beat my kids just because I was beat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you have to fight. I think we live in a fallen world, and you have to fight these impulses.
Right.
That we all have impulses. We all have different impulses. Like I said, I have an impulse to just eat fucking cake all the time. Like, that's my fucking impulse, you know?
Yeah. Just eat cake, huh?
Just wake up, have cake. Well, lunchtime, have cake, you know? Dinner, have cake.
You don't look like you eat like that.
I don't eat like that because I'm fighting the impulse. You know, I told you, my fat black grandfather helped me with that.
How'd you get over that, though? Your impulse is not to eat certain foods.
It was through 12-step recovery.
Yeah.
There's a group called Overeaters Anonymous, which everybody
Really? Overeaters Anonymous?
Everybody can tell that you're an overeater, so
Overeaters Anonymous.
come on, man. I used to always be like, I don't know why I'm fat. I don't know. Yeah, I know why I'm fat, you know?
Yeah. What was your heaviest?
237. 227 or 237, I can't remember. It was pretty big. It was not bad for the ethnics, but it's pretty bad.
Yeah, I got a friend, he's really big, and I was like, I asked him one day, I said, dude, you're a huge guy, but I never see you eat, and when I see you
He's
eat,
never going to eat in front of you.
He said, yeah, he said, the problem is when I go home, I put one, you know those big-ass trays of Stouffer's lasagna? He would put that in the microwave. He would eat that whole tray.
Yeah, but in front of you, he's going to eat well.
Yeah. He said he would eat a loaf of bread with it, and then he would get a bucket, 1 gallon of chocolate ice cream.
There you go.
I was like, in one night, yeah, right before I go to sleep.
That's called binge eating.
Yeah.
It's compulsive. He might have been molested when he was younger. That's a very common thing. Some kind of abuse. And then there's some kind of physical abuse that happens, molested, and then it gets imprinted on your body, and you can't. It's compulsion. You can't stop. You know. So I went through 12-step recovery, and one of the first things is like they were like, you have to eat 3 meals. I don't care what you eat, but you have to eat 3 whole complete meals, because part of it is you try to control the binge eating by starving all day.
Yeah, that makes it worse.
And then it makes it worse. So
10 times worse.
10 times worse. So that was one of the first things. And my sponsor was all about harm reduction. So he'd be like, okay, you want to binge on a whole bag of fun-size Snickers. He's like, how much do you really need to be satisfied? What's the amount you really need to be satisfied? And I'd be like, I think half a bag would be pretty good.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah. And he'd be like, okay, do half a bag plus 1, just so you know you have it. So before I even started, because I didn't have control, I would take out the part that I can't eat, throw it away, and I'd sit down and fucking eat. Right?
Yeah.
But this was already better, because I wasn't
eating whole bag.
Well, first of all, I'd given myself permission. So now I didn't have to eat to punish myself afterward for doing it. It was less, right? And it was thought out. So it wasn't just impulse, right? And then the other thing I learned was delaying it. So if you tell yourself, I can't have it, what are you going to do?
Yeah,
you're going to go eat it. So it was like, can you wait 15 minutes? And if in 15 minutes you still want it, you can at that point say, can I wait another 15? Or if not, and if it really couldn't, go have it. And you had to do it. Like if you got to that point and you were like, nah, I got to eat it, you had to give it yourself, because you were building trust with yourself, which we don't have.
Oh, I see.
So, and then the other part, and I do think this was a God thought, because I would do all these things where I'd go on these diets, crazy diets. Like I remember one time I drank nothing but fucking that cayenne pepper lemonade for 2 weeks and went running every day for 6 miles. Okay, I must have lost about 20 pounds. It was ridiculous. And then immediately fucking binged eat like a crazy person. But the other part, because I'd be like, I'm never going to eat that again. I got to get it out of my system, then I'm never going to eat it again. So I had this thought that was like, well, what if you knew you were going to eat it again? Like, what if you knew you could have it again whenever you wanted? And it was like, well, then there'd be no reason to get it all in now, because then I can have it when I want it. And I do think that was a God thought. Because all of a sudden it was just like, oh, this is for you. You're not doing this at anybody. You're not binging for somebody. There's nobody here to fight against, protest against. It's just you. So if you do this, you're doing it to you. And so it was just a sort of serene peace. And I had a clear sense of, I could have it whenever. So took away the impulse to binge. And then I found Ray, like literally within a few days of having those thoughts, and he was just like the missing piece that helped me. And then it's just a steady process, step-by-step process. But I fluctuated. I've gone up and down, because sometimes it wins, and when I started comedy, I was a little bit of a fat bitch, which helped me, because I was like, I don't care if anybody thinks I'm attractive, I'm a fat bitch, So,
yeah. Hey, y'all, if y'all out here feeling sluggish, got them joint pains, got them backaches, or your skin looking all ashy, man, you need some help. Yeah, we just dropped a brand new product on our site to get you making your body great again. Yeah, some damn good sea moss capsules. Yeah, this stuff is packed with all kinds of organic ingredients like sea moss, burdock root, and bladderwrack. What the hell is bladderwrack? It's good for you, man. Irish sea moss has all kinds of essential nutrients in it, like iodine, omega-3s, fiber, and antioxidants. If it was African sea moss, I wouldn't trust it. But it's Irish sea moss, so you know it comes from the good old white people. Go to officialhodgetwins.com and get you some damn good sea moss. Yeah. So, your tours, a lot of your shows has been getting banned lately.
Yeah, I've gotten banned from a lot of venues. I can't really work any regular clubs because they say that they're free speech, and then they'll get a complaint or a call from like Michael Rappaport, who will call them.
Oh God!
And
what clubs can you perform at? Because we got shut down by Helium comedy clubs, but we could always go to an improv.
I haven't really tried any of the clubs anymore because after the last one in Pottstown that told me he was free speech and he was like, I'm not giving into cancel culture, and then he canceled a sold out show because Michael Rappaport called him.
Wow.
I was like, I can't trust them, and I can't be in this position where I'm scrambling to find a new venue because you got chicken shit because you said you're free speech unless I say something that pisses somebody off, which to me is like, you're not fucking free speech. You're all cowards. If you want to know why we're losing our rights, it's because nobody will stand up to the woke crowd and they just want somebody else to do it. Nobody has the guts to say, okay, fine, you're not going to perform in my club, goodbye. And have the faith that God will provide, that you will get better than that.
I never understood that why they would cancel a sold out show. People paying the money, you putting butts in the seat. Why would you cancel the show because you don't like her jokes? It sounds like crazy.
It's not even that he didn't like my jokes.
Right.
It's that somebody else didn't, and you need to virtue signal and tell everybody that you're a good person, because otherwise you're a racist by association. Now, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter that you've had white comedians who drop the N-word in their act plenty of times on your stage. Nobody said anything about them. It's me. I'm the problem. And I'm the problem for a few things. Number one, I'm a woman. Number two, I'm smart. Number three, I'm not a fat bitch anymore. If I was a fat bitch saying this, nobody would care. And I'm actually funny and making some valid points. So if any one of those things wasn't there, nobody would fucking care.
Yeah.
That's it.
So how do you, going forward, how do you book shows?
What I do is I call like what I think are conservative venues, and I ask them, if we're able to do a show, I tell them, look, it's going to be a secret location. This is to minimize you guys getting calls or anything like that. If you're comfortable with that, let us do it. You might get calls after the fact, but, usually they're not like a major business. So I'm not doing any bars or anything like that, because those places will get threatened that their business will be shut down, even though it never happens. Right. It never happens. These people don't have any power. They just scream a lot.
Right.
So, and people will call these venues. Like there was this one venue in Houston that had me last year. And people like this white lady, or I think she was Jewish, contacted her and was like, she's an anti-Semite, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, me and my family have really enjoyed coming to your establishment. We won't be coming there anymore. He's like, I'm a bar where Mexicans come to line dance. You're not coming to my establishment. So they lie, and he was like, I don't get any money. And this show has 450 people. And he's like, I'm not canceling this shit. He must have made over 20 grand that day. So it's like, he's not going to cancel it. But so that's what I'll do. I'll keep it a secret location. I'll find these venues that are not really connected. Like I'll rent a hall or rent a space.
A ballroom.
Yeah, ballroom and a hotel. Like, they're not going to cancel. It's like, I rented this. You're not supporting or sponsoring anything, right?
Right.
And then I'll keep it secret, and only people who bought tickets will get the location. And they get the location the day of. So it can minimize, like, sometimes I do have infiltrators. I run.
That's crazy. You got to be that lonely and just.
People will buy tickets that just want to get the location. And so I run an AI program to scan their name and internet presence to see if they're connected to anybody who is like politically that way.
Right.
And then if that's the case, I just put them on a list, and I don't even tell them their ticket's canceled. I just cancel it so they don't get the location. I do refund them, but I'm going to start not refunding them, so you lose your fucking money.
Right.
And they just get their tickets canceled.
Right.
Because I'm like, I'm not going to do this with you.
Wow. Yeah, you a bad bitch. Jumping through hoops.
Yeah. Well, here's where it pisses me off, okay? They're telling me that I can't say this. Fine. There's a bigger issue. My shows are sold out. I had like 350 people at my last show, okay? You're telling 350 people that they don't have a right to hear the content they want to hear.
Right.
Who the fuck are you to make that decision for 350 grown adults? If they want to be racist, that's their fucking right.
Right.
If somebody doesn't have the right to be racist, somebody doesn't have the right to be non-racist. That's the truth.
Right.
So you think this is a tyranny of kindness and compassion, and it's bullshit. It's not real kindness, not real compassion, but they are trying to legislate and force you to be their version of kind, of nice.
Right.
This is how people don't realize this. They think all tyrannies are about like, oh, we're going to force you to be evil. No. Tyrannies are always masked this way, that they're forcing you to be good.
Right.
God doesn't do that.
Right.
If God doesn't do that, who are you?
Right. God just send your ass to hell.
That's right.
They'll burn for eternity.
Well, people don't understand that either. It's not God that's sending you to hell. It's you. You made that choice.
Right.
Well, because here's
a great point.
This is the understanding in the Orthodox Church is that God is like a fire, right? And depending on your spiritual state, you either experience that fire as warmth or you experience it as burning. It's the same fire.
Right.
It's you that's different. And I believe that God is a lot bigger and more merciful than we understand, because otherwise none of us would make it. That's the truth.
Yeah. Right.
None of us would make it. I mean, some of the shit, like I think about it, talk about like waking up out of feminism, like, the stuff where you just like have some casual relationships and then people think that that's good. It's horrible. You don't realize it in the moment that you are literally defiling and destroying yourself.
Yeah.
And you're doing it thinking you're getting something. I mean, that's the nature of evil, right? This is like when a trans person cuts their dick off and they think that they're like winning, but they have literally maimed themselves.
Yeah.
You go, that's the nature of evil. Evil makes you do harm to yourself and make you believe that it's good.
I couldn't imagine like waking up and just chopping that off. Yeah, what's the point of living?
Yeah, but that's
that's the weirdest thing.
It's an anti-life. It's a death cult, So I didn't know this at the time. I was young. I was stupid. I was like, I'm in New York City. I'm having fun. Sex in the city. And now I'm haunted by these memories where I'm like, and I know that I've been forgiven because I have talked about it, but it still haunts you. You live with that. So sometimes people think like Christianity is bullshit because they're like, you could just say I'm sorry and it's good. It's like, that's not what repentance means. Repentance means a real significant change in your soul where you suddenly are like, holy cow.
You're remorseful.
You're remorseful. And the truth of the matter is like, this is why you shouldn't just be like, well, I could just apologize for it at the end. Because when you wake up, when you realize what you've done, it's fucking painful.
Yeah.
And you're haunted by that.
Yeah.
Somebody who, I know somebody who killed somebody in a drunk driving accident, and he did his time and he's forgiven now. You think he's not haunted by what he did?
Right.
Of course.
Right.
So it's pretty like stupid understanding of Christianity, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of people call themselves Christian. I was like, man, a lot of these Christians are not really Christian.
Well, they're modern day Pharisees.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The hypocrites in the Bible who went into the temple and said, hey, thank you, God, for not making me like other men. And the tax collector who was beating his chest and asking for forgiveness. I mean, that's you can look at our life like that.
Yeah. And they're on both sides, the left and the right.
Oh, I fully agree with that. I'm not about this. I think this political divide is a mind control because I have values that I think would be liberal values, and I have values that I think would be conservative values, and I have values that don't go in either one.
Right.
Like not wanting the Palestinian kids to be genocided makes you a liberal retard, apparently.
The evangelical that's pro-life when it comes to abortion, but you support what Israel's doing to Palestinians, like that is crazy.
Yeah, but then, not wanting, innocent lives to be destroyed in the womb, which is like one of the most evil things. I mean,
yeah, right, yeah.
There are videos of these babies.
I can't even look at them.
Trying to get away from the things, the forceps coming in, and they're clinging to their mother. I mean, the betrayal. Like this is what I'm talking about in terms of evil. Like the nature of a woman is to kill and die for her child. You understand? Right. Kill and die. Yeah. That is our nature. Like literally, we're primal about that. And we are celebrating doing the exact inverse so we could have a career in middle level marketing,
right?
Sending emails and memos.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if a woman who has done that wakes up and repents? The pain. And that's why a lot of them don't do it.
They can't look at themselves in the mirror.
But it doesn't matter because it's still destroying you, and it's actually destroying you worse.
Yeah, that's some more deep shit. Do you think it's a special... You've been deep as hell. You've been going balls deep this whole show.
Well, sometimes I get away with it because I'm just a comedian doing satire.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I never had a black sponsor. I'm racist.
Hey, do you think it's a special... I mean, I know men are evil.
Men?
And I ask,
Men or humanity.
Yeah, but... No, we all have evil amongst us. I mean, in us. But do you think it's a special evil that's in a woman that's not in a man?
I
vice versa.
think that your answer to that question is yes. I think we're susceptible to different evils.
Yeah.
To different and I think that's also true culturally.
Yeah.
You know, I think different races are more susceptible to different ways of falling.
Right.
You know?
Like for example, that Lorena Bobbitt, when she chopped that dude's
dick
people
off.
actually laughed. Women was actually
That's
laughing.
not funny.
Yeah. I was like, what if a dude would have chopped a woman's breast off or the clitoris off and people are laughing, mocking? I was like, man, that's crazy. You laughing at
Well,
that.
they do that in the Middle East, and they laugh.
I know. Yeah. I just walked right into that one.
I do think that, and I think women are in another category the way black people are now, where they're let off the hook of any accountability.
Right.
They are infantilized. They are simultaneously told that nothing is their fault, but they're also so amazing and powerful and they can do anything.
Right.
And it creates a narcissist. And we have a lot of female narcissists out there who want to be worshipped. Look, I'll just speak for myself. Like, I get a lot of DMs, right? Being like, you know, and that does something to your brain. Okay. I don't care what women say. It does. You start being like, as soon as my man starts acting up, I'm like, I could replace you with any one of these losers. Now, I don't know that I don't realize that they're losers. What kind of guy, like any guy who's been worth his salt, usually doesn't send you DMs like that. Although my fiance did send me a DM. That's different. He pretended he was just hiring me for work. I didn't realize what was going on. But that's not good. Because relationships, look, we're both fallen creatures, right? I'm not perfect, you're not perfect, right? But we kind of say that and don't really recognize what is it that we're doing that really, like, can you see yourself from somebody else's eyes? You know, you fucking flip, this is a true story. You flipped out on this guy because there weren't eggs ready in the morning and you were too hungry to deal with it. So you start crying. And in your mind, it was a totally rational behavior.
Right.
And he just woke up and doesn't know what's going on. How do you think about that? Right. But when he starts being like, hey, this is a little bit insane and we can go get you some eggs right now. And you're not reacting to that. And you go, well, you won't give me everything I want. I'm just going to go because I know there's all these men waiting in the wings. Right. Now you don't have that bond, that bridge that makes you do need a bit of dependency
upon each other
to stick with each other through the hard times. You know, it's easy to love someone when things are good, you know?
Right.
But so that I think that is a part of what's happening with women, you know, the online dating, the apps, the social media where, you know, you post a fucking picture of your knee and you're getting like all of India being like, I will come to rape you, you know, whatever they say, you know, it gives women an inflated sense of what they can have. And then they find themselves being really dissatisfied because maybe the guy that really is good for you is the one that you have to work through things with. Right.
And that is women in a nutshell. Yeah, a lot of them. Yeah.
But it's happening.
Just relationships in general.
But think about that, right? I do think we all have these predilections towards different sins, right? And if you are living, we need guidance and leadership, right? That's why people need the church. People just think like, I'm going to listen to what God wants from me. And the next thing you know, they're like in some fucking sex cult, right? In like South America, drinking this poison, being like, I'm talking to God. It's
Jim
like,
Jones.
Yeah, some shit like that. But they think that all that's control. And I'm like, look, you're going to either be led towards God or you're going to be led towards the devil. That's the truth. There is no middle ground. And it's what's the water you're drinking, and the water we're drinking is poisonous. And it wasn't always like this. You know, we used to be a Christian society. I mean, I go back and I watch some things like you've watched It's a Wonderful Life, that old Christmas movie.
I still haven't watched that.
You honestly should really watch it because
I tell myself that every Christmas.
It's one of the most beautiful movies, and it's like corny to say because it's such a whatever, but you just actually see it's kind of crazy. Like in the movie, the guy sees because he was like a moral, like kind of Christian guy, even though they didn't like emphasize the Christian thing other than the singing of the things, and he kept making the hard decision. He wanted to go travel and do what he wanted or whatever, but his people needed him. His town needed him. If he left, then this evil, like rich dude who was probably Jewish was going to take over all these places, and all these people were going to be poor or whatever. So he kept sacrificing his money for his trip or whatever to stay and run the loan bank to make sure these people can get loans for their homes. And it built a whole civilization that was functional. It was highly Christian. And he, ends up trying to kill himself, gets saved by an angel, and the angel makes it so that he never existed because he wished he never existed. And then he shows him. And what you see when he wishes that he never existed is our society now. I'm not kidding. This is an old movie. There's like he's walking down the street and there's a nightclub. One of the girls that he saw and helped get married, she's working the club as kind of like a stripper, like loose woman. The guy has bought up all the land. These people are all living in tenements. They're poor. Nobody can. The whole thing is in disarray. And you see it now, and you go, "Oh, too many people neglected their duty. That's what happened." And we've allowed Christianity to be taken away. And we live in a world that lacks meaning. And I can see this just if you look at like two different Christmas songs, right? The old time Christmas songs had a richness and meaning. They were singing about God coming down out of his tremendous love for humanity to save us from ourselves. I mean, it is rich with meaning. You can just feel it. And then you compare that to Bing Crosby's I'm Dreaming of a White Christmas. And you're like, this is about snow.
Right.
Christmas is about snow and presents, and you feel what we have been robbed of. And it is a tremendous sense of our own connection in the universe, our connection to God, meaning, purpose, and you understand why everybody's depressed and doing drugs and, hookering themselves and OnlyFans. And this is what we live in. Because we don't live in that Christian society that would guide us towards, if you're in a Christian society with morals, I mean, not a hypocritical one, obviously, but with morals that guide you and say, hey, money isn't the most valuable thing in the world, right? Then when you're presented with two deals and one of them requires you to screw people over, but you get more money, and the other one, you don't get as much money, but everybody benefits, your moral guidance system will push you this way. We live in a merchant class value system, which says make all the money you can, and it's not personal, it's business. And now you look at what we have.
Yeah.
We got plenty of money and not much else.
Yeah. Why is Christ is King? Why is that labeled anti-Semitic?
Because it is.
Yeah, it goes totally against their religion, huh?
If you say Christ is King, what's their job? How are they the chosen?
Right. Yeah. Right.
It is anti-Semitic. Christ was anti-Semitic.
Right.
He said, you're the synagogue of Satan. Get out of here, you brood of vipers.
That's actually a verse in the Bible.
You're the children of the devil. I don't understand how evangelical Christians read this and are like, they're our friends.
Yeah, they always say they're God's chosen people.
Yeah.
I always say that from Republicans.
And then who are you?
Right. Right.
Who are you? Who are you worshiping? And maybe they're right about you. You're worshiping, the son of Beelzebub or what? I don't know how to say that name. One of the demons. What is his name? Beelzebub. I'm an immigrant. There we go. I've learned a lot. My parents are immigrants, so they don't know a lot of the words, and I learned a lot of words just by reading them, and then I put my foreign accent on it, so nobody knows what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm like, opposite. They're like, what? Opposite?
Hey, did you see Trump's meme of what he wanted to do to Gaza?
I don't know what the fuck that was, dude. I was like, is he trolling right now?
Yeah. He had to have been. I was like, nah, you are tone deaf.
I think he was trolling.
Yeah.
I don't really believe that he's actually pro-Israel. I think it's a facade.
Yeah.
I have to believe that right now.
You have to.
I'm coping, man. I'm coping hard. There's no way, man. They're the ones who tried to kill him. He knows the truth about JFK. He 100% knows the truth about JFK. There's no way he doesn't know the truth about JFK.
And what is the truth about JFK? Because Ben Shapiro is infatuated.
That happened 45 years ago. Why should we care?
You're right. That's what Ben Shapiro says.
Or 65 years
ago.
So
why the hell are we still talking about the Holocaust?
Hey.
I'm talking about Jesus.
Stop being anti-Semitic.
It was popular on the left, and now it's become increasingly popular on the right. The kind of, let's just ask questions. We'll ask, who really killed JFK? Wink, wink, nod, nod. And then you're like, well, do you have any evidence of the thing that you are presupposing? Well, no,
yes.
I'm not making any accusations. I just know I don't believe the story that I'm being told. I know not to trust the authorities. Like, well, that's fine, but do you have any evidence? Like evidence, not just supposition. I said, well, you're part of it, aren't you? You're part of it. The reason that you're so defensive about all this is, I don't care who killed JFK. I mean, I do, because it's really interesting, but I noticed that the calendar says 2025 and he was killed in 1963. And so my opinion about who killed JFK has about as much relevance as who killed William McKinley, or James Garfield, which is to say not
It has about as much relevance as how many people died in the Holocaust.
Right. His eyebrows is diabolical.
I was about to say, did he paint those on?
Yeah, no, those are
he looks
thick
like a
as
cartoon
hell.
character.
That is thick.
He's lying and he knows he's lying.
Y'all had a good response.
Bizarre take. Why would you want to know the true identity and intentions of the people who killed one of America's most important presidents?
Y'all ratioed his ass.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Wow. What a little...
He's a liar, man. I knew he was a liar for a long time. Everybody was like sucking his cock because he was making.
I was one of those cocksuckers.
He's making all the conservative points. Like my brother would be like, "No, Ben Shapiro's real smart." I was like, "Hey, let me remind everybody, he's Jewish."
And he voted for Hillary Clinton over Trump.
Yeah.
Because that's yeah. Oh, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, a lot of people forget that he voted for Hillary. Yeah. That's nuts.
Doesn't that tell you something? But now he's pro-Trump. Give me a break. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And he said, like, I don't, because they were talking about all these third world immigrants coming in. He's like, I don't give a fuck about the browning of America. I'm like, yeah, then why did Israel sterilize all the Ethiopian Jews? You seem to give a fuck about the browning of Israel.
Yeah.
Rules for thee, not for me.
You don't even see the black Jews over there.
No. I mean, you see them here in Harlem.
Oh, I don't think they're actually Jews.
5%ers. No,
the
you
black
don't
Israelites,
say.
I was like,
What?
oh my God, they can't be Jewish.
They are. They're the OGs. What are you talking about?
There's some hateful ass Jews.
They're like, I'm the Jews. I'm like, you guys don't run anything. You don't even run your own community. We just sit down.
Black Israel. Those people are clowns.
Yeah, so you're from New York. Did you ever see a Jew pop out of a tunnel?
Oh, yeah. They used to pop up and scare you. Like a jack in a box. No, but I did have those Hasidic Jews that you saw there doing that. I've had them as landlords. They were like slum dog landlords, dude. They would. I remember I went to see one apartment and the floor was slanted. And he was like, it's great. And he was charging some crazy amount of money in Brooklyn. And I was like, all right, I needed a place to stay. So I took it. And the pilot light kept shutting off. And I was like, hey, the pilot light kept shutting. He's like, you have so many problems. You have so many complaints. The pilot light was. I was like, oh, you're really going to tell, you as a Jew are going to tell me I should be okay with gas?
You've never seen this before?
Of course, I didn't see that in real life, but talk about, this is what I mean when God has a sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because he keeps showing us things, and he's like, what else do you need? I gave you a Jew coming out of a tunnel on camera.
Right.
People are like, oh, they weren't doing anything. I've never seen people build tunnels to help kids.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. That is so crazy.
It's weird. But they're a particular sect. Like I knew a really nice Jewish girl who defected from the Orthodox Jewish community.
Yeah.
And she had some horror stories, man. She I knew her from recovery. She was big. She was real sweet, and I felt so bad for her. Like she told me about just how abusive it was, how ostracized she is that she left that community. She refused to marry some like older, gross Jew guy, and so they have their own like. It's bad for the people in there too. You know what I mean? Like it's a cult. Like, and if you don't stick with it, then you're on your own. And a lot of them don't know what to do when they're on their own like that.
Yeah. Thank God I'm not Jewish.
It's worse. You're black.
Yeah, I got my own set of problems. Yeah, so I think since Trump became president, I think everything's, for the most part, I mean, I don't agree with everything he's doing, but I think for the most part, we head in the right direction.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot better stuff for sure. I mean, I think we have to realize like he's only going to be president for 4 years. So everybody needs to get off their asses and stop, taking it easy. Like this is the time you got to lay siege. You got to reconquer that territory and more.
Right.
That's why I'm not backing down with the comedy. I'm like, hey, if there's a time for racist jokes, it's now. This is the time.
Right.
Because we don't know what's going to happen in 4 years, and we need to establish these kinds of frameworks that can't be taken away from us just with whoever becomes president.
Right.
I hear a lot of Republicans talking about they want him to run for a third term. I don't want to see him as a third term. He's like fucking 125 years old. I think somebody.
I think that's setting a horrible precedent too, because the left wants to stack the Supreme Court with more judges. Yeah.
You got some shit on your lip. Get that shit off.
Yeah, get that shit off your lip.
It's gone. Now it's on your bottom lip. Your big lip. Yeah. Oh, flaking all over the place. You freaking.
Hey, the white part of you said that, and that's racist.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see him to run as a third term.
I don't know. I mean, it depends. It depends if there was anybody good who could take over. I'd rather.
How about Vance?
Oh, he's married to an Indian. I can't. We cannot be having no Indian in the White House.
Yeah, that's a slippery slope right there.
First of all, you'll never get the smell of curry out of those walls. Good luck. I'm not kidding. You guys think I'm joking, but I had to get these 2 seats. I was in Texas, and I went on Facebook Marketplace to get these 2 chairs. It was 2 nice blue chairs. And it was an Indian who owned them. So I went again. First of all, there's a whole apartment reeked of curry.
Oh, wow.
And those seats, I brought them back. I had to like Febreze them a bunch of. I could never get the smell of curry out. It was.
It's strong, right? What the hell is that? It's an Indian street cooker. Why's all the flies in it?
That's part of the charm. It's part of the experience.
Jeez.
No, thank you. Yeah, what's up with us having all these Indians everywhere all of a sudden?
Those HB1 visas.
They had that like Hindu fucking singing at the Republican conference or whatever before Trump was elected. Remember, she was like, no. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
Go ahead, wash your hand of my food. Go ahead.
I like Cash Patel. I think he's pretty awesome. You know, I knew him before all this stuff, but I was like swearing in on the Bhagavad Gita. I was like, listen, get out of here, dude. Enough.
Oh, he swore in on that?
Yeah, he didn't swear in on the Bible.
Huh.
Yeah, thank you. See what I mean? That we have been de-Christified. That's the whole point. We're not supposed to worship Christ. This is not a Christian nation anymore.
Right.
And that's why everything is the way it is.
Yeah, I would think I would see that in my feed on Instagram, but no conservative touched it.
No, because they can't, they don't want to criticize their own, which I get. We are in a war. Mm-hmm. We're in a war. We're in a culture war. It's been waging. We've been losing. Mm-hmm. We've been taking hits, and people are acting like, it's just, no, it's not just a little thing. Souls are being taken. Children are being mutilated. Like those kids that took those hormones that, wake up at 25 and are like, what did I do? They can't get their life back.
Right. Yeah.
That's harm.
Those freaking parents, man. With those kids.
Mentally ill,
Yeah, I'm like totally against when I see these families adopting kids, I was like, why are we letting these people it's these 2 gay guys trending. I mean, I don't know if they go by they, them or what, but they're like wearing dresses with beards and they adopted 2 kids.
Why do they want kids? First of all, why do gay guys want kids all of a sudden?
And it's always boys.
Isn't the whole point of being gay that you don't have kids? Isn't that the whole point about why you're gay?
Yeah.
Because you don't like kids? It's weird.
Yeah.
Let's cut it out.
I don't think they should be able to adopt. That's just stupid. Letting gay people adopt.
I don't think they should be able to adopt at all.
Yeah.
I don't. I think it's mentally ill that we do that. Like,
yeah, not all straight people can adopt. But I don't see why these people jump in front of the line and
I don't want any Indians adopting kids either.
You got a hair shooting up. That's my damn girl's fucking our looks up there. Got shit everywhere.
One talk about the Indians throws you guys off. They're gonna hack your podcast. Welcome to the Hodgetwins, bunch of anti-Indians.
Hey, during your shows, do you have people ever walk out? No, they know what they get.
They know what they're getting. Mm-hmm. But you know what is funny? This was funny. This happened in my last show. This dude brought his girlfriend. She was fat. And I have a lot of jokes about fat people, you know what I mean? Because I used to be fat, and it's fair game. You know?
Right.
And she didn't know what she was getting into. And I watched this happen because, first of all, she's kind of okay. And then I start going into my fat people jokes, and I go hard. And then you see her go. And she was like chubby. She could have lost the weight. I don't know what's happening with her. And she's upset. And he's fucking cracking up, okay? Right. And he looks over, he realized she's not laughing. He's like, oh, shit. And I called her out on it, but she was so miserable the whole time. And I'm like, yeah, you're ugly. you're fat, you're short.
Yeah.
You look like, you don't really care about anything. You're dating a guy who looks to you to decide if he should laugh. You don't respect him.
Right.
If he was a man, he would have been like, what's your fucking problem?
Right.
You know what I mean? He would have been like, he would have known not to bring her, or he wouldn't have been checking in if it's okay to laugh.
Yeah. Right.
Men, don't ask for permission to laugh
It's that
from
same-
your woman. That's pathetic.
It's that same thing that went down with Chris Rock and Will Smith and Jada Pinkett.
Yeah.
He was laughing his ass off.
I know.
He
Yeah.
looked over his wife, he got pissed, and he went up there and did that to Chris Rock.
Which
That's
was, he's such a simp, dude.
Right.
He's such a beta simp. That is some beta simp shit to do, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't watch his movies anymore after that.
Well, he's a shitty actor anyway, so.
Yeah. I liked him in Pursuit of Happiness.
He's always such an overactor. He's so exaggerated.
He made me cry in that movie, though.
That's
he got the Rubik's Cube and he was making all this money. I was like, that fucking black guy made it.
That's why you know it was a movie. Black guy solving a Rubik's Cube. Let's relax. It's not that. Who's that? Wait, there's that one black philosopher. I forgot what his name. He kind of looks like.
There was a black philosopher?
He's modern. He's like yes,
Thomas
Thomas
Sowell, yeah, he's
Thomas
smart, man.
Sowell reminds me of Frederick Douglass, man. He's like blah, 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 blah. Something about IQ.
Yeah, Thomas Sowell.
He could solve a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
He's
He
cool.
can't solve the black problem, though.
That's beyond his capabilities.
Yeah, no, it's beyond everybody's capability.
Yeah.
Till that community recognizes what the problem is, yeah, they won't fix it.
Well, not until there's accountability. Nobody gets better without accountability. Not a
Yeah.
group, not an individual. This it happens. You learn this in 12 step. Alcoholics. Everybody always makes excuses for them. And as long as there's always a bunch of enablers around an alcoholic who are protecting them from the consequences of their own actions.
Right.
And as
Call
long-
them Democrats nowadays.
Yep. Or race baiters.
Race hustlers,
Race
yeah.
hustlers like Al Sharpton and all that.
We got poor leadership in our community.
They profit off of this shit. It doesn't matter that it's destroying these people they pretend to care about. And this is why it's so fucked up, right? Because you'll have these people who are actually destroying you, who are actually doing evil things, but because they say the opposite and because they champion you in this fake way, you think they're the good guys.
Right.
Then you have me, who actually comes out and calls it out for what it is, and actually sees you for what you
Racist.
are, and I'm the evil one.
Yeah, you fucking racist.
Thank you. Go ahead. Let's get that for the thumbnail. So what I'm saying is, I'm Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody thinks I'm the bad guy, but I'm over here kicking loser black kids in the. I don't know. He doesn't even beat up black people. He beats up Joker, and he can't even do that.
Hey man, this has been a great podcast. Where can people find you and buy your tickets to your shows?
Yeah, so good luck. The best thing to do is to go to my website, Leonarda with an A, is funny.com. Leonarda. It's like Leonardo, but with an A. Nobody knows how to do
Leonardo.
that. Is funny. And you sign up for my newsletter. I always have my ticket dates there. So I'm always working on getting new. It's always about getting new secret venues. And so if you sign up on my email list there, I send out an email blast every time I get a new date. I just send out an email blast and let people know so they can buy tickets right away.
It's like Fight Club.
It is. You have to know about it.
Freaking
So,
Fight Club.
and listen, I've seen the Indians who've signed up for my email list.
Yeah.
I put up a firewall against India. Cut it out. You know what they did?
What?
They were so pissed about me saying what I said. They tried to. This is how racist Indians are, right? They took some of my videos that were like black jokes or whatever, and then they started posting them in like black group chats, and they were like, "The blacks are gonna get her." And then the blacks.
That was smart though.
No, it wasn't, because all the black dudes were like, she kind of thick. Where can I find her? And then they started being like, yo, girl, you funny. I was like, nice try, Indians.
Yeah. Yeah, black people like in your face jokes.
I know they do,
Yeah.
unless they're told to get upset about it.
Right, right.
Unless they're told to get upset about it, man. You could not offend old school black people before. They were like, now these new wokies are, all social justice warriors and they're communists.
Yeah.
You can see, and the thing is, you can see when the communism has taken over the psychology of a person. Doesn't matter, black, white, whatever. You can see they're seething.
Yeah.
They're so resentful, so
They look off.
It's demon shit. I think they're downloading demon consciousness. I really believe that. I think communism is a demon ideology.
Yeah.
Demons, evil always presents itself as good.
Yeah.
It always presents itself as this is, it's always, forget about the means. The end is the ultimate. Look at, we're going to have to kill all these people on the road to creating utopia. Evil is always about creating a utopia here.
Yeah.
That's why the church says you can't do that. This world is fallen. You're not going to be able to do that. This world can only be restored by God. And any attempt to make it a utopia will always result in massive evil, worse than what you were trying to avoid.
I'm ready for God to flood this bitch again.
He's not going to do that, but he might send some more gays.
Hey, Joe, can you pull up the pictures of those people bombing Tulsa, the transgenders or whatever? And you say that they got this look about them. You can see that look in their face.
Yeah, it's a demon. It's a demon, and they all say the same thing. They all look the same. They all see the same.
They're possessed.
They're possessed, I believe. Yeah, but they signed up for that.
Are we seeing a rise in trans domestic terror?
Like the images. I guess if you type it, like, see, there's one.
There it is. Look at that. Doesn't that look like a demon grin? Look at that.
That is nuts.
I'll tell you a story.
The face of insanity. There's another one, too. That is crazy.
You see the eyes? You see how it's almost cartoonish?
Right. Yeah. Imagine someone laying down with that.
No, that's just an Indian.
I think if you just go to images on Google, it's another guy that was part of that. And Tesla bomber. Yeah. And he just, I think it's his mugshot. They actually found some bombs inside of Tesla today, reported on the UK Mail.
Wow.
This dude?
He's a trans guy. As soon as you see him, you'll know he's trans.
They're going to hide it off of Google.
That's crazy. It's not coming up. Yeah.
Google censors things.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. That's the same one.
There you go.
Oh, it's the same dude.
That's the same dude, yeah.
Well, he looks better there.
That's just because he's not smiling.
Right. He's toning down.
Oh, there he is. There he is. Him. You can see it in his eyes.
Yep. There it is.
Like looking at the devil right there.
You ever seen that picture of that guy? He's in the hospital bed and he just cut off his balls, and he's like got bandage wrap around his area, and he's holding them up, and he's like, and that's demon stuff. They celebrate when they're so giddy when they have succeeded in getting you to hurt yourself. That's why they all are happy like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good look.
Look at you see the before and after? That was the before and after, huh?
Yeah.
Look at him.
There was something wrong before too.
There was something wrong before.
This is just the final
He's
evolution.
just waiting to be exploited.
Yeah.
Yeah, what a shame.
Well, Looney Tunes. Hey, have you guys lost followers since you started, J-pilling people?
Yeah.
Right?
We've lost people. Yeah.
Evangelicals being like, I was on board, but now you're black.
Yeah.
I knew there was something about you guys.
I trusted you despite my better instincts.
Yeah. Like if you support what's going on in Israel, you're not a Christian.
Yeah, that's true.
You're no way in hell. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not, because you get persecuted if you speak out against it. Would that really be what's happening if you were innocent?
Right.
If you were the innocent party, you would persecute people for speaking out against you?
Right.
I don't think so.
They killed JFK and they killed Jeffrey Epstein because he was working for them.
I'm not sure that they did kill Jeffrey Epstein.
Did you see that one video? Matt Gaetz. He said, I think he kind of implied that he was a Mossad agent.
He was 100% a Messiah. I think they took him out. I think they took him out of the prison. I think he was.
Do we think he's even dead?
Yeah, I'll tell you why. Remember when supposedly he killed himself, and they were saying Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself, and everybody it's a double meaning, right? They're actually telling you the truth. He didn't kill himself because he's not dead, but everybody took that as he didn't kill himself because somebody killed him.
Right.
But I think it's actually they just extracted him.
Never thought about it.
I think
Jewish supremacist.
Yeah, I think he was part of it. They're not gonna. I mean,
yeah, because they had a picture of Bill Clinton wearing a dress and red.
They will sacrifice their own if they need to. They will for sure, but that's not what I think it was.
Him and Ghislaine Maxwell used to get their sex slaves, like they were usually not Jewish girls, and him and Ghislaine Maxwell used to tell the girls, they're like, "Oh, we can do this to you because you're not Jewish."
Yes, because it's in the Talmud. Yeah, now Shabbat Lubavitch is like doing outreach to Ghislaine in prison, like trying to help her be more Jewish. I'm like, she's already fully Jewish. She's trafficking children. What do you want?
Jeez.
But, that's why I don't think they killed him, because they would have killed Ghislaine too. She knew all the same shit if they were afraid of somebody talking.
They needed somebody to fall for it, so.
So they said that so everybody would get off the case,
Yeah. I bet you she's living really great in prison.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you she is.
Oh, yeah.
It's not really prison for her.
She got
If
all
she's
the black
even in
cocks she can
prison.
suck there.
Yeah.
How do we even know she's in prison?
Oh,
Because they told us?
I'm going to go kill myself now. This whole world is fake.
It's fake and gay.
Yeah.
The whole world is fake and gay. No, but this is what I like. I read this thing recently about like the Lord of the Rings, that series, and they were saying how in the Lord of the Rings the point is to fight. It doesn't. And they were looking at Tolkien was a big Christian, and his message was a Christian message. It doesn't matter if you're going to win or lose. Mm-hmm. You have to resist evil. That's your job.
Mm-hmm.
That's your job.
It never stops.
And we are in a place now. We're like, well, what's the point? What's the point? They're going to win anyway. The point is that that's your job. And I believe that if we do our job, God will meet us. I don't know when that's going to be, but he can't do our job for us. It's true. I learned that in recovery.
You gotta earn your stripes.
Yeah, it was like, I don't have the power to stop myself from compulsively overeating. It's 100% true. I knew that for a fact. Mm-hmm. But I knew that if I did the footwork, they told me if I did the footwork, God would do the rest. And that is what happened. Mm-hmm. I had to show up, go to meetings, do the steps, practice the 15 minutes, and the compulsion lifted. So I didn't have the power to do that. Right. So I believe that about the war that we're in, that it is our job to resist evil, and the temptations are great. There are a lot of them.
Yeah.
He sent you a black angel.
Yeah, he did. He was trying to teach me a lesson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, one day you're going to be real racist, and I need you to remember this. It's not all of them, you stupid bitch.
That's a classic ending right there. Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me, guys.